I am just furious. It's 9:20 in the morning on Monday.
Whoever is doing whatever can go straight to hell.
Call me back now or see me in face, and trust me, you won't want that.
Hey everybody, welcome to the HOA Show. I am the host, Jason Hurst. With me today on the show, I've got Kelsey Marin to my right or left. What? I can't even tell the difference between my right and left. Whatever. Kelsey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Brian Evans is also here.
Hello, everyone.
And also we have Mary Ann joining us on the program today.
Good afternoon.
Of course, I make it seem like you don't ever join us, but you're always joining us, so, whatever.
I'm here once in a while.
Yeah, are you? Okay, all right. Gotta say, I am super excited about today's open topic that we're going to be talking about. This is going to be a fun one, so stick around for that. But first, just really quick, I just want to lay out what we're doing here. Okay, so the HOA business is crazy, okay? And half the time you don't know whether you want to laugh or you want to cry, but most of the time it's entertaining. So we figured the best thing to do would have a bunch of us get together, those of us who have experience in the HOA business, kind of talk about it and, share the madness with you. Brian and Kelsey are both HOA managers. Kelsey, how long have you been at it now as an HOA property manager?
3 years.
3 years? Okay. And Brian, how long have you been doing it?
13 years as a manager, 3 years as an HOA president.
Wow. Okay. And Brian is a glutton for punishment. He opened his own property management company.
I love complaints. I love hearing them and helping people solve their problems.
He lives for complaints. We're going to put that on his tombstone. Brian Evans lives for complaints. There you go. Absolutely. Now, Mary Ann was at one time a property manager, but she saw the light and got out. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, how long ago was that, Mary Ann?
Oh, geez. I worked with you, Brian. How long ago was that? 2000?
10 years ago.
Yeah, like 10 years ago.
Okay,
yeah.
Very good. And now you're a realtor, correct?
Yeah, more half sane as a realtor than I was as a property manager. But yes.
But you have plenty of dealings with the HOA, too.
Oh, yeah, totally.
That's always fun. And I was a property manager probably 4 years ago, and that lasted for about a year. I think that was my limit at that point in time. So, and now what do I do? A little bit of everything, I think. But I'm also a realtor, sort of part-time-ish, and I'm a 20-year radio vet. We got to mention our sponsor for the show. The HOA Show is brought to you by HomeSearch.com, your number one source for resale documents, FHA renewals, reserve studies, instantly downloadable for your convenience. HomeSearch.com, HomeCerts.com. As I said before, today's topic, I'm definitely very excited about. Kelsey, kick us off with today's topic.
All right, today we're going to be talking about Methin. Excited about this?
Can we get some explanation on what Methin is?
You can't just
this
drop
is a new
word
word
like Methin on us and not tell us what that means.
It's when you're doing meth.
Oh.
We're talking about meth. I'm
Gotcha.
coining the term Methin because I think it's really funny.
Okay,
It's
very
a great
good. Very
term.
good. Yep, it's all yours.
All right, well, we're going to talk about a story that happened a couple of years ago. I'm just going to read you a little snippet from the article that was posted about this. Police department received a call in regards to a dead body hidden in the closet of a home in a condominium complex. The body was located and it was determined that the deceased had overdosed on drugs and was put there by his roommates. They were scared to report it because they had been using drugs and were trying to regain custody of their son. They contacted someone who goes by the name Cupcake, who has a cleanup crew.
No. This is in the article.
100%.
Cupcake?
100%.
Oh my god.
They contacted someone who goes by the name Cupcake, who has a cleanup crew, to dispose of the man's body and any evidence. Before that could happen, they found out the roommate's father was coming to the house. Officers arrested the pair for desecration of a body, obstruction of justice, and drug possession.
Wow.
Oh man, I think my favorite part is the Cupcake.
100%.
That's got to be the name of the business. Cupcake Cleanup Crew. That'd be fantastic.
It's got a nice ring to it.
Yeah, it does.
If it
that's
was
great.
named that, though, you can see where a suburban mom would call, like, after a kid's birthday party. I don't think that's a good name for Cupcake's cleanup crew.
Hey, they may be disguising themselves as a cleanup crew. I mean, maid services by day, body cleanup by night.
Hey,
you don't know.
You got to have a legitimate side of the business.
You're right.
That's how that
You're
works.
right.
So, oh man. All right. What are we going to say about that?
How long was he in the closet, you said?
Yeah, they put him in a closet in their condo, which, I mean, if you're in a condo, you're in close quarters with other people, so it wouldn't take long for, number one, the smell to get through of a dead body, let alone the meth smell and all of those issues. Yeah, it sounds like he was in there for a couple hours at least before someone, I'm assuming that their roommate's father was either trying to contact, I don't know if it was this kid's father, whose it was, but it sounds like he was trying to contact someone, so he just decided to swing on by the house and contacted the police once he found what he found.
That's awful.
So it looks like the body, in reading this, that the body was there for a couple days, and it was actually the smell from the neighbor is what triggered that part of the issue.
And maybe that's why Dad was finally
Gross.
looking for him, because he hadn't heard from him for a couple days, and if he knew he had drug problems.
This is an entirely different meaning to coming out of the closet. This is completely different. I don't no. This is loss of life, so I don't want to make total fun of this. But I mean, it just boggles the mind.
It's also great that they were trying to regain custody of their son. So they didn't want to report it, let alone their multitudes of other issues that they have going on in their lives. But this is the one they didn't want to talk about.
You might want to start somewhere else in your life on the cleanup side of things in order to get to the point where you're going to be. Okay, so that brings us to an interesting part of this topic. So, I mean, the question is, when you're an HOA property manager, as you guys are, I mean, what do you do in a situation like this when you find out that there's been meth in one of the properties that you're managing?
Call the police immediately.
Okay.
And that's unfortunately, you just need to involve the authorities. They've got the county health departments will come out. They've got their tests. I had a situation. This is probably 5-10 years ago, where I got a call. One of our maintenance guys went out to look at a property. We managed the rental property and the HOA. He went into one of our units and he goes, "Brian, you got to get over here real quick." I go, what's going on? He goes, "Well, there's glass beakers, there's Bunsen burners. It looks like somebody's opening up a chemistry lab in here." And I immediately went, "Oh crap, they're cooking meth."
It's an episode of Breaking Bad right here,
Right?
In the apartment.
Are there any RVs in the visitor parking?
Yeah, exactly.
Is there a white guy running around in his underwear?
Right. And I go over to the unit, check it out. I walk inside. Sure enough, it looked like either they were getting ready to start cooking or they had just finished cooking meth. Immediately called the police. 10-15 minutes later, the police, the fire department, the ambulance, they had the guys in spacesuits showed up. I mean, they immediately roped off the whole building. And this is in a 12 stack condo.
Right.
So, you got 4 on each level. This was on the first floor.
Oh, man.
Evacuated the whole building. Everyone comes outside. Everyone's, of course, freaking out when they see the guys in the spacesuits, like E.T.
Right.
guys going in.
100%.
And you're like, what's going on? Everyone's asking questions.
It's an alien. There's an alien in the basement.
Right. And you don't know for sure what's happened.
Sure,
so you gotta play it safe. And you just say, they're gonna do some tests. They're gonna figure out what's going on. They closed off the building. They did their tests, wrapped everything up. They drive off. And I'm sitting there talking with the property owner. And where do we go from here? Like, what happens from here? I said, we're going to have to figure out the test, whether it pops positive or not. And then there may be some cleanup that we have to do. With the meth house, there's a ton of stuff that you got to do to get it
You got
to get it
Cupcake
safe.
for that. I wonder if his
Cupcake.
cleaning working out for that.
Let's check out his Google reviews.
Can he get it health code approved? That's the question.
I'm not sure Cupcake's qualified for that.
So we start talking about it. They say, "Okay, we get it. Brian, you'll take care of this." I said, I got this. This is my first rodeo with the meth house, but we'll get it taken care of. Start walking back to their car, and property owner actually slips on the ice. This is in the middle of the wintertime. Slips, bone sticking out of his leg, and is just in extreme pain. We're all looking at this going, could this day get any worse for this owner? So he's got a meth house. He's got a bone sticking out of his leg. And they
guy.
go, "What do we do?" I said, I think we need to call the ambulance, call the police again. They made it 2 miles down the road, flipped a U-turn. I don't know why they had to turn the sirens back on at 10:30 at night.
Just in case there was someone in the way.
Exciting for them.
We're coming back. and
Added
so
drama.
Right. And then so people start coming back out going, well, what's now? I'm like, there's nothing to see here. Everyone go away. Got him loaded up in the ambulance, went home. Police officer reminds me, he goes, "Hey, you were the one who called this in, right?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Do you have kids at home?" I said, "I've got 2 kids at home." He goes, "Well, if you were inside that place and they were cooking meth, you're contaminated." I said, "Well, what does that mean?" He goes, all the clothes you're wearing, anything, clothes, shoes, you need to dispose of it." which I was super bummed because I'd just gotten a nice new 49er jacket for Christmas.
Oh.
no.
So I go home, pull the car in the garage, and my wife didn't know anything what was going on. She just knew I was working. I was
Right,
working
sure.
some pretty crazy hours. So for me to come home at 11:30 at night was not abnormal.
Right.
So I pull in, begrudgingly take off all my clothes, throw them in the trash can, and I walk inside just buck naked. She turns around, looks at me, and goes, "Well, okay."
She's like, oh, when you said you were working late, that's what you meant. Okay, sure.
I had to take a shower and scrub up, but
Wow.
yeah, it later turned out there was no meth, so it was kind of a false alarm. Obviously, the equipment was there, I think, for ill purposes.
So they
but
probably just hadn't started cooking
Yeah.
yet, but they were
they were getting set up.
They were getting set up. So wait, why did you guys go in? What was the maintenance guy went in,
Maintenance guy went in because we managed the rental.
right?
So were they just moving out or something, or they just?
Or was there a maintenance
needed
issue
maintenance.
that
So
he
there-
was going in for?
There was a tenant that had moved out.
Oh, okay.
And then we were going back in to make sure everything was taken care of. So in the process of the tenant moving out, I don't know if they gave keys to their buddy and said, "Hey, FYI,
Oh.
cook away," you know.
Yeah.
But there was a period of time, couple days, where the tenant had moved
I
out.
see.
We had gone
Gotcha.
back in and
Okay.
went, "Oh, what's
okay.
going on?"
Yeah.
Got ya. Okay.
I was like,
Wow.
Did they just forget their stuff? We're gonna cook. No, it's too much trouble. Let's move. Yeah.
Grab the TV. We'll get the meth stuff
That's
later.
Yeah. But essentially, with meth, there's no private cleanup. Like, you don't go in and just clean that stuff up. You call the
Yep.
police. You have the professionals come in.
Pine Sol does not clean meth.
Right.
You know,
Darn it.
unfortunately. I wish it would, but cleaning up a meth house is I mean, all the carpet's gone, all the softs, any furniture that you've got, anything that can absorb it is
gosh.
all gone. Cabinets, I mean, they spray the solution on it. It literally looks a house that has been treated for meth. It looks like they dipped it in water and pulled it back out. Like they spray everything down.
Really?
Oh my
It's terrible.
gosh.
It's
Wow.
I mean, you're repainting, you're recarpeting. It's pretty much a new house.
Essentially, just starting from scratch.
How much does
Yeah.
this end up costing the owner?
$5,000-$10,000 usually,
Oh
depending
my
on. And this is for like a
gosh.
condo.
Yeah.
But it's all new carpet, all new paint, all new. Yeah,
That sucks.
Cupcake cleans for cheaper.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think he
Yeah.
does. I'm pretty sure. I don't know how it'll go on the meth test, but he definitely cleans for
Yeah.
cheaper.
Yeah, he's got a great deal on repurposed carpets.
Yeah. There you
Can
go.
use pieces of that to roll up someone else in.
Yeah. You get a dead body with every new carpet installation.
In a condo situation, Brian, what is the likelihood that something like that would transmit to like an adjacent condo?
So
I mean,
it's
I know there's a
possible.
risk of fire or explosion or those kinds of things, but
Right.
like chemically,
Chemically, it can. I mean, it depends on the how the house was built. If there's any shared ventilation systems where the air can actually pass through different units. Some condo complexes, townhome complexes have shared ventilation systems, like hotel rooms. They have similar.
Yeah.
It's vented into the same, or
Right.
the return air goes to the same place. It's hard for it to get into a completely sealed. From one sealed condo with its own HVA system, with
Right,
fire code,
right.
you've got double drywall
Sure.
insulation. So it's pretty hard to get it to the room next door.
that's good.
But it can happen. It has happened. It's just a little bit rare. And a lot of it depends on how much they've been cooking, how high the levels are. When you do the meth test, like they go around and wipe different areas of the whole the unit, and then
Right.
they send it off to a test to determine how high the levels are of the methamphetamine.
Wow.
So it's not just it is or it's not. There are different levels that are.
There's different levels, and the other thing is, if you're cooking, obviously I think that's one of the highest levels that you can get. If you're just smoking it, it still pops positive. Like if you smoke meth inside a unit, it's still
Right.
a contaminated unit. Just cooking it isn't. It is, I believe, the worst thing, but smoking it is also, those chemicals will stay in the carpeting and can cause, birth defects, health issues, health concerns for anyone who moves in there. But it's a silent killer because you can't really smell it, you can't see it. It's just those chemicals are so hard in all those surfaces.
Man. 3 years in, Kelsey, you got yourself any meth houses yet?
No,
See what you have
I
to
don't.
look forward
I don't.
to as you go along.
I definitely have had to tell people we've had a couple wellness checks, which is something that's pretty common when you expect your neighbors are either doing drugs or you haven't seen them in a while. Similar to this guy, it's been a couple days. You may want to check on him. Had to advise on a couple of those. Luckily, everything has been good on that end. But always, like, police are more than willing to go knock on doors and see what's going on in a house. So if you always suspect something, just call the police. Honestly, me as a manager, there's not really much that I can do besides contact the police. So a lot of times it's more effective if like the homeowner deals with that. But yeah, I'm hoping I don't have to deal with meth houses.
That would be nice. That would be helpful.
It'd be wonderful if I could just jump that ship.
I think the well check thing that Kelsey brought up is a great idea and a great tool that you can utilize your local law enforcement for. They will do a well check. I mean, that's part of
Right.
they're there. They are there to help. And, you know, a property manager shouldn't be going over to a homeowner's house at 9:30 at night doing a well check or checking on someone from the HOA.
Right.
You know, as a neighbor, if you're calling in a well check, your neighbors may be a little bit sketchy, or you may be worried about your neighbors, haven't seen them for a while. Just have the authorities deal with it. They know what to deal with. They're trained in these things. Let them take care of it.
Yeah. What I want to know, and when we get our restoration. There you go, restoration. What I want to know is which is worse, meth house or black mold. That's what I want to know.
Meth.
You think so?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yep. Because black mold, you can get rid of black mold, and it's usually centralized in a couple locations or a location.
Right.
With meth, it's just everywhere. Once it's in the house, you got to clean everything. With mold, you can just remove the drywall, spray it, treat it, and you're good to go. It doesn't really transfer into the air as easily as the meth does.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like the spores or whatever would get out and like
Well, they
make
can,
you sick and stuff.
but most of the time, unless it's been a really long time,
Yeah.
But you can
it's pretty centralized
okay,
usually.
so you can remediate that pretty quick
Yeah.
without too much trouble.
You know, when you get the black mold, it's, you know, growing hair on it, and yeah, it can obviously cause a lot of health problems, but the meth is just immediately contaminating everything that smoke touches.
Well, clearly, since you had to strip all your clothes off.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Did you get to get your jacket back since it was negative?
No, but fortunately, my father had the same jacket, and he gave me his when I told him my story. So
That's so nice.
Cute, Dad.
He's like, that story deserves a brand new 49ers jacket. Here you go, son. Excellent. All right, before we get to that, we got to mention our sponsor for the show. The HOA Show is brought to you by HomeSearch.com, your #1 source for resale documents, FHA renewals, reserve studies, instantly downloadable for your convenience. HomeSearch.com, HomeCerts.com.
in order to clean it up, it is a special license that you have to have in order to clean up, certified to clean up the meth.
Okay.
You know, they're registered with the county. Usually it's the county health department. At least here it is.
Right.
But they're registered with the county health department, and they submit their test, or they come out and test for it, send it to the county health. They tell you what your levels are. Then they get the approval to do the work. Then they retest it, send it back to the county, and once it pops clear, then you're good to occupy the property.
How long does that take?
The cleaning of it is really just up to the cleaning crew. A couple days, you know, to remove everything, do the demo, remove it all, throw it away, spray it, let that dry, and then you can reinstall, you know, carpet and that once you get the clear test.
Oh my gosh.
Jeez.
Could be a significant amount of time to have to replace everything. And
Yeah. It's one thing to check for property owners or rental property owners to check your insurance to see if you have that coverage, because there are some coverages that'll cover that for you.
Is it specifically meth house coverage or what is that listed under? So I can look for that.
Under meth house coverage.
I've never seen one drug specific.
Perfect.
But even with the insurance policy, you get coverage of loss of rents too. You know, while
Right.
the tenants aren't in there,
Sure.
the insurance company will help cover you for all the rents that you are not collecting because no one's living there.
All right. That's a list that you don't ever want to have to look up, though. You know
No.
what I mean?
No.
You know, you don't want to look up and especially if Cupcake's on there.
Right.
Yeah, it's,
Well, I'd say this too. When as a prospective buyer of rental property or prospective buyer of property, it's not a bad idea to do a meth test because you can't smell it, because you can't see it. You know, for $40-$50, you can do a test. A lot of the testing companies charge a very minimal amount, if not for free, if you use their services to clean it up. If you say, hey, I'll use your services,
Right.
they'll come test it for free for you a lot of times.
Yeah.
Or again, it's a cheap cost. But And as part of your due diligence, when you're looking at a home to purchase, I think it's a great idea to just get it tested for meth. Then at least you know you're not walking into a $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 expense to remove everything and get it cleaned in your brand new house that you just bought.
That makes sense.
And the hard part is it's a really slow. It's a really slow. If you are affected by the remnants of the methamphetamine, it's a really slow thing to realize what's going on. There's some neurological effects that you have, some health concerns, but it's not like it immediately hits you. It's over time that you see those effects in people that have been affected by living in a meth house.
So bottom line, I think, is methin is bad.
Methin is bad.
I think
Methin
that's
is
what you get
very
to.
bad.
Methin is bad.
Yeah.
You gonna put a trademark on that?
I probably should
You
because
really
I
should.
think it's funny. I do.
Chelsea just dropping new words on us.
I am.
Boom!
I'm
methin,
the youngest
right
one.
out
I
of the
gotta
box.
educate you
Is
on
that
all
how
the new
that works?
terms.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a new term.
It is.
That the kids are using these
One that the
days.
kids are using.
All right.
I think with technology now too, it's a lot easier to find out when those or where those drug houses are, what's going on. You know, we've our house, our office, a lot of our properties are equipped with Ring. You know, we're big fans of Ring, cloud recording, motion detection, and if there's crazy things happening at 2:00 in the morning, those Ring doorbells pick it up, and then you can use those videos to help with the police and tracking down what's going on. You know, but it records it. It's really nice. Surveillance is a good thing to have, especially in an area where you feel unsafe, where you feel like you need to record it. Yeah.
It's always good to have security like that.
Agreed.
Ring, if you'd like to sponsor us, you can go ahead and do that.
Please.
Please.
Shameless little plug right there.
I will send you a sticker if you sponsor us. Thank you.
Begging for sponsors. Styling for dollars. There we go. That's an old person term too.
That is an
Dialing
old
for
person.
dollars.
Yes.
Yeah. Question I have about the whole Methin thing is how long had they been there in that apartment, and what are things to look for? What are things you guys would look for or would advise people to look for to know when there might be meth going on or any kind of drugs in your neighbors?
A couple things to kind of keep an eye on. I know when I was in college, we had a drug house next door, which was a fantastic place for a 19-year-old girl to live. But, you know,
In the drug house or next door to it?
Next door.
Oh, okay.
Our neighbor's name was Booker, if that tells you anything. But he had a lot of people coming and going all hours of the day and night. It was generally on 2 days of the week. I think his days were like Thursday and Saturday or something. Most of the time there wasn't a ton of traffic, but on Thursdays and Saturdays he had a lot of people coming through. There were quick visits. It wasn't just coming over to hang out. It was they were there for a minute or two and then they were gone. A lot of times he wouldn't come out, but people would go in. Sometimes he would meet people at the street, and you could obviously see there was an exchange of something, money, something through car windows, those kinds of things. You can look for smells. Obviously, marijuana has a pretty distinct smell. Yeah. And some other drugs too. Other things to think about are like what kind of job do they have? And geez, they have that new $6,000 flat screen TV and he works at, you know, the local 5 and Dime or whatever. Like looking for those kinds of signs in your neighbors. What do you guys think?
Do they have 5 and Dime?
Oh, come on.
I don't even know what that is.
Mary. Really?
Walgreens.
Do they have
Walgreens.
Walgreens. Thank you. I'm on the same page now.
Here's the funny thing. I was about to interject with Radio Shack, and then I'm like, no, wait, that's going to show my age right there. So no, I'll just keep quiet and make fun of Mary afterwards.
I'm old. Okay. I'm
Her
old.
5 and Dime.
It's Walgreens, Kelsey.
Thank
Walgreens.
you.
Yeah. Now you know. Now you know.
I'm included.
What other things can you guys think about that?
I think the traffic is usually the best sign that someone is selling or distributing drugs from their property. Like crazy traffic, that's usually what's going on. As far as the user side of it, traffic or just sketchy people coming inside and out. Like if something doesn't feel right, talk to your HOA board, talk to your manager, let them know what's going on. You know, if you get enough people who start complaining about a house or a resident or a tenant that's inside one of the units, they'll keep an eye on it. And as soon as you start to get a lot of complaints about the same people, you go, there's something going on here, and the property manager will usually check it out, send an email, talk to the property owner. I'd say more often than not, it's usually a tenant that's residing there, not a property owner. In a lot of the drug sale houses that we get notified of, just because they don't have a vested interest in the community.
Sure.
You know, they're there for a short period of time.
Sure,
They're
yeah.
living there until they get kicked out or they move to someplace else.
Yeah.
So the traffic is the big one, though, that I usually try to keep an eye on.
Window coverings. I
Yeah.
just thought of that. People putting
Yes.
tinfoil or, darkening shades and never opening their shades or blinds.
Yeah, but I put tinfoil on my windows, but that's just because I think the government's listening to me. I mean, no. Wait, that's something different.
You forgot your hat today.
That's right. I didn't wear my tinfoil hat. Shoot.
Is the tinfoil in the windows not against your rules and regulations in your HOA, Jason?
My unit's in the back. Nobody can see it. So
Mm.
I don't know.
Beg to differ.
I
on
better
that.
speak to my HOA property manager about that one.
You
I
probably
think there's
should.
a notice on the way.
What? What are you saying?
You fessed up, now you're in trouble.
Yeah, I would think window coverings is definitely something you could look for. That's going to do it for this episode of the HOA Show. If you are a property manager, a property management company, an owner, an HOA board president, anybody like that who has a great story about HOAs, feel free to send it to us. We really want your content. You've got voicemails, that one voicemail that you got that you just been sitting on that you think is just hilarious. Feel free, send it to us. Any stories, notes, we'd love to hear from you. And in return, we will give you a personalized gift from the HOA Show. So all you got to do is just shoot it over to us in an email to info@thehoashow.com. That's info@thehoashow.com. Until next time, pray for no floods and fires, and we'll see you later. It's an episode of Breaking Bad right here in the apartment.
They contacted
All right.
someone who goes by the name Cupcake, who has a cleanup crew to dispose of the man's body and any evidence.
Bottom line, I think, is Methin is bad.